Rajesh Patel, welcome you into this live session of the competency design and implementation. Shomona Ghosh is also there. Welcome you. There is one number reflecting last 944. Welcome you here in this live session. Khandelwal, welcome you here in this live session. Anamika, I think your voice is on, so please keep yourself muted. Then there is Minakshi Venkesh Dhanda has been joined somewhere. So I welcome you all member here personally into this live session of the competency design. So let me share now here the screen, what we are covering here into this next 1 hour. And then this is one of the intensive learning program. And at the end, here are something for you. Maybe many people who has been joined near to Deepavali registered, not joined, registered for Deepavali. So they have been gone through some giveaway. So that is one of the intensive tool we are providing to you that you can implement into your organization without any support. So welcome you here in this live session of specifically the designing of a competency for a progressive organization, how you can do as the HR professional. Either if you are HR professional working or you are a service provider, it will be helpful to you in the different perspective and way. But how? So you have to be keep till the end with in this today's session so that you can get all the expected practical learning from this program, how you can design and align your individual based on the competency, and that competency, how it you will be derived from the organization. So what is into this today's program and what we are covering about? Number one, we are covering about the competencies. So most probably the people has been question about what is exactly the competency. So it is still the point of discussion at the many platforms, but at the end, what I'm sharing with you, you will be know exactly what the competency look like into the organization. That is differently from what you have been gone through academic, as well as that is differently where into the 95% of organization are using the at the last, what I'm sharing with you, that is only for the 5% of the top organization using that platform. The competencies where identifying a ideal image, and that competency you can utilize for the different objective to address the organizational issue. Either that is your attrition, that is your development, that is your training, that is your the performance productivity, where there are the different or n types of the activities and tasks where or functions. It is not about the task, it is about the functions where you can utilize these competencies, of which I am sharing it here with you today. And how to identify or specifically design an ideal image of the employee into the organization, who should be the highly performer into your organization. Then finally, how you will be implement these competencies which I am sharing. Then one practical tool we are sharing with you at the end. So you have to be keep connected with this call and with this session today till the end. That is the objective. So let's come forward. So however, there are 25 member has been joined. So welcome you here in this live session. And this is the SLA is a masterclass on the competency design and implementation. So in the today's session, as I mentioned that there are the 5 to 7 number of the different tasks and actions which we are covering it for you, so that you can learn the next level of competency design and implementation. So this is about the competency design and implementation. However, we have been received many questions from the who has been registered for this program. So the important question I have been picked up, so I will also address those questions within this whole session into the next 1 hour, so that you can get the queries resolved as you have been asked during the registration. Furthermore, at the end, I will also keep some slot for the questions and answers, so that you can get whatever the question you will be asked during the learning from this 1 hour, so that we can also get the learning, address your issues too. So it is about the little bit about the academy as well as the facilitator about me. Now come to the point. The point is here to that the how to design and implement the competencies. So first of all, so what you here is the question for you my side when we will start. So I want to just assess and the check the nerves and what you think and what you know about the competencies, what are, so that I can explain it here better to you based on your understanding also, as well as what better will be from my side, what I am exactly putting into your knowledge today and practically, so that I'm sharing it. So what you think and what is competency exactly? So you can write in the chat box quickly into 1 and 2 minutes, then after we will be start further. Only 1 and 2 words are okay. So what you consider actually it to the competencies and why it is important. So important when we are covering it is also essentially important when I have shared with you into the beginning. So ability to perform efficiently. Good one, Bharat TK. Then competency is the skill which we need to do some task. Okay. Knowledge, required skill set and the expertise. Okay. It is critical to have enough competency to perform task. Okay. Able to perform as per competency as an individual, capacity of an individual. Okay. Design those competencies with the expert, and that some insights of the expertise for designing of competency I am giving it here into this program. Then it come to the specific, the competency you have been, or the competency meaning you have been given into the different. So that come to the two different types of the competence. One which you have to be get the job done. Second one is to how those jobs you are getting to done with the different approaches. These are the two different perspective of the competence. Here are some questions. I will cover all those questions within this program when it will come. But furthermore, here I am sharing with you exactly the competencies is what, which I am here sharing with you, that is above to all the competencies and using by the 5% organization in the country or into the globe. So that I am also sharing with you. Shumona is saying that I will be discussing him the KRA and KPI to that can analyze the team competency as per the company objective. Your KRAs and KPIs, that is okay, you can, but how you will be measure them? There is the one, the technicalities that you have been defined some objective, like someone they have to achieve the 5% increase into improvement in their day-to-day activity or the objective you have been given. But second one, how to achieve, what approaches he need to be demonstrate while achieve those 5 to 10%. So that is your competence. So that's why don't mix the competencies as well as the your KRA and the KPIs together. KPI specifically for the performance, where you have to evaluate, address the performance, what he has been done, the ultimate result. But into that ultimate result, what he has been demonstrated as a human being, that is the objective, and that we are covering here. The specifically the problem solving, yes, that can be, which is known as, we can say it, the critical competency. So that's why I'm sharing it here with you. The behavior competency or the other competencies are specifically three types. One is your core or open competency, which you are will be with your knowledge, your skill and ability. Then and above to that, there are the behavior competence, that are the approaches. In approaches, how an individual person, if they are two individual manager you have, and those two manager, they are similar into their performance, they are achieving their goals, but how you can distinguish without of those who will be your successor into the future? One example I will give you. You have two product manager or sale manager. So one manager is who, it is not about a template. So they say competency like a template to monitor the entire performance. Competency is not template. So when you have to monitor everything, you require some document. So document is the template. Competency is that ultimate behavior or approaches which require to be demonstrate or which require to be addressed posed by an individual. So that I'm addressing it here to you. So next one, what? So here, so that's why the competencies are the behavior of an individual who achieve outstanding performance into the given role. So given role is what? Your KRA and KPI. So there you have a separately that the separate format plan or the monitoring system for the performance. When you have been adding it with the competency, the behavior approaches, it is not the behavior, it is specifically the approaches, how you have achieved that. So that is the ultimate competencies. which here I am sharing with you how to identify those. The next one, when it comes to the behavior approaches, how these approaches look like and how you have to be put it there. So it is about when you are going to be monitor it, so it can be quantitative, it can be qualitative, so you can define it. But when that is the measuring your performance in based on the quantitative and qualitative, when you are going through the theoretically, you have been gone through this thing or the quantitative and qualitative, but approaches or the behavior approaches to achieve those objectives, you cannot measure them into the quantitative and quality. It is into the behavior and approaches. So that's why here what I'm sharing, we are separating the competency, your KRAs, which required to achieve the technical aspect. And third one, exactly what we are talking here, that is the ideal image in an organization of an employee. You are talking about the quantitative and the qualitative, what they have been achieved, which will be, that is a tool for the measurement. Either it will be measured on the quantity, it will be measured on the quality. So quantity means he has achieved 5%. He has improved that further. What was the your area of particular where you have stacking something, then the improved area has been looking like in good. That is the quality. You are providing the quality product, that is improve the qualities. But how that quality has been improved? It means you have been improved your employee behavior. So that is number one. It is about competencies of behavior approaches are that create an ideal image, what types of the employee you require. In organization, practically, I am saying, I'm sharing with you, many organization, they have the product also. They are producing the good number of product. Their per day target is the 1000 product they have to be produced. And they are producing the 1100 and 100 they have additional for the next day, so that they can reduce their working hours, they can reduce their cost. But when it is inside, does they have been produce those product within the required quality or within the required, however, are they have been bypassing any process in between? Because when you are delivering them to the customer, so there may be any issue happen. So the ideal employee is those who will not or who will never bypass any process. If someone is bypassing the process, so he will be become critical. So that come under the critical competencies, which I am sharing here with you, and ultimately which you will be get at the end. So the behavior competencies or a separate model I am giving you at the end. When we talk about the ideal team member, so what it should be, they have the talent and ability, which you have been given into the listed here, their competency, their quantitative, qualitative, KRA, KPI, that is their talent and ability. Then their approaches, when with their approaches, when they're using their talent and the ability, so it will give the organization, it will be give the organization that achieve their goals. So ultimately it come here the achievement. So that's why I have been share it with you. So here, this is about the, when we are talking about the ideal image, so that is the behavior competency which required to demonstrate by an individual when he is performing into their given task and objective, which is aligned to the organizational objective. And who are performing, so it come about the someone has been asked the question about how to identify the high performance employee, the hippos. So that is ultimately the behavior competencies will give you that opportunity to identify those people who achieve outstanding performance in their given role. So that are the behavior approaches. How? So let's come forward to understand what is it exactly. So that the competency which I am sharing it here with you, that define the ideal employee image. At the end, I am also sharing with you full toolkit how to implement it in your organization and make your organization successful. When it is coming with the ideal employee image in the perspective of the organization, we are not here in the theoretical, in the academic, where we have to be learn different theories. When it comes to the organization, every organization, they have different perspective. However, their objective is to getting the more customer, more finance, But when we talk about here the ideal employee image, so it means they have some target, and that target is achieving by the individual who they have been employed. So who will be employed? So that's why the many you may have been asked the question, or someone has been already asked the question, that the how to identify the ideal employee for these competencies will be help you to identify the competencies which I am sharing it you at the end, the conclusion, that will help you into the seven or eight types of the functions in your organization, like your recruitment, the selection, like your organization engagement, the development, as well as it is about your training and development, then succession planning, performance appraisal, how you have to be implement it after the designing into organization, then monitoring. And second part, someone has been also asked the question that how you can teach your technical team, that the product team, that they can identify perfectly the competency. They cannot. What is the reason? The maximum organization, their competencies are not successful. That is the reason when the competency they has been designed, so they put it into the hands of the technical people to identify. It is not their role. Their role is to monitor. So that's why you as an HR, you have to take the lead. You are the leader. The competency which I am sharing it here with you, that is the leader's competence. The CHRO level people competencies into the 5% of the organization in global, they are using these competencies which I am sharing it here with you. You have to design it you have to be next level, put, or you have to be engage your technical team to monitor those. Then you have to be put some checks on that there cannot be any biases, and that will be helping your organization to automate the people function. Automation, it means automation, you have been seen and you may know about the automation done through the technology only. How you put the people into the automation, that is the behavior competency, so that one person come into their jobs and he spent the 8 hours, and that 8 hours is specifically dedicated. Do you have any talent audit into your organization, that how many individual or specific individual, how much hours they spend into their jobs out of the 8 hours? Really, when you deploy these competencies which I'm sharing it here with you, you can evaluate, assess it. So when we talk where the organization is focusing only to deploying the people who will be helped to achieve their organization, so how they will be achieved? So there you have been already defined some KRAs, you have the KPIs, but furthermore that are not achieved. Only into your organization who is expected to achieve those competencies, that may be possibly into the 2 and 3%. Reason? You don't have the behavior competencies, their approaches, how they have to deal with. So the competency ideal employee image for an organization, which I'm sharing it here with you, that will help you to identify those team members who maximize the performance by number one, managing their jobs, how to solve the problem if there is a problem, and second one, how to utilize the data, what their resources and networking to get those tasks done and achieved. That is the job management. Second one, it come about your organization and human management. The ideal employee, they does not only work for the job management, they work for the organization development and human development. When it comes to the human development is what? Human development, their self development also, and their subordinate developments too. Third one, what is the mindset should be there, or mentally how they should be, what types of the mental approaches they need to be. Some people we have also seen into the organization, they are physically, they try to actively that they are into the task, but mentally they are not into the task. So that's why these people you have to identify. How to identify those? That are your competency or the behavior approaches. So here at the end, what I'm sharing with you, so that is the 3-pillar competency model I'm sharing. So how people manage their jobs and solve the problem, how to people engage themselves into the organization and human development, and finally how they utilize their mental state or the mindset. So this will be the model will be look like this. Basically it is all about the mindset. When we talk about the behavior come from the emotions as well as their mental approach. When an individual their mindset is right, so they will be helped into the organization development, as well as finishing and completing their jobs without guiding them, without approaching them, without utilizing the stick to handle those people. So that is the automation. So how you can do the people automation? Through the competency identification, implementation, and then it come to the next level, how to map it. So mapping means, number one, you require some organization philosophy, how ultimately you are drive. Competency means when as an HR you are implement that designing the competencies, how you are designing it, how you are implementing, but ultimately you are not getting the result. That is the reason where is the 95% of the competency model which using by the organizations, or 95% organization in the globe, or in India you can also exemplify it. That is the reason where there is no specifically alignment, balance between your organization as well as your organization objective or approaches, and furthermore the individual approaches. So that's why what you need, there are some prerequisites when you have to implement this approach model that require the organization philosophy. So organization philosophy, however, you may have been seen, every organization, they have their mission, vision, and values, but does that reflect into their day-to-day task, into their behavior also, or either that is for the documentation only? So your organization philosophy come from the three important requirement, task, or the organizational objective. That is the mission. What is the mission of the organization? And these or the philosophy, that is the guiding principle for the organization or their corporate actions, that ensuring that organization are really into the cooperation of their employee societies, and that is trusted by the people. When we talk about the branding of the organization, how it comes, it will become from the organization philosophy. What is their thought process and what you want to achieve into your society within your product? So that is ultimately define the brand of your organization. It does not only with the having just for a good number of the brand logo, good infrastructure, as well as it will become how your approaches have to deal with your people to end. When it comes to the philosophy of an organization, it is your mission. When it comes to the organization mission, that should be reflected into your functions, your department, and then the mission of the individuals. When it comes to the next one, the management principle, how you are managing. So that's why there are the different types of the thing you can identify into your organization. So that may be really like the, you have the customer first, the quality first, and then you have the approaches to the people first, then after how you deal with your people. So that should be all into your organization, and based on this philosophy it will become with your organization design. And when you have been designing your organization with aligning to your organization philosophy, then it come to the aligning your individual with your organization as well as your corporate philosophy and the overall philosophy of your organization. Then it will become ultimately the image of your ideal employee, what you are looking for, what an organization requires. When you have this system, then after you does not have to approach many people for getting them done. The people or the talent outside in a market, that will be automatically reflect or attract to your organization. So next one, what should be into this ideal image? Let me share with you here something. And into the next level, what it should be. So this is ultimately when this combination or this model will be work and give the result into the individual on the defined competencies, where, as I mentioned, the ideal team member, their talent and ability with the behavior competency achieve the higher performer or maximum result into the given role. So here there are the different types of the competencies, so that I will share with you. So when into the 5 critical competencies, you can divide it into the next 10 level of the competencies. That competencies will help you into the effective mapping of your competence level into the organization, as well as this will give you the different approaches where it is required for the key competencies into or surrounding these 5 core competencies. What are those? So let me share it with you. So here, when it come to the 5 level of the competencies, so that come about the how challenges they are into the first, that is the continuous drive for the achievement. They are the more challenging, they take the challenges action, always they are keeping themselves challenging, then they take the actions and never give up till then they does not get the result. So that is your ideal employee which you are looking for. They are always the customer focused. If any problem come to the customer, that is internal or external, they are always there. They collaborate with the different people who are surrounding with that problem and get the solution. They are committed to the organization. They are utilizing the logical approach with the fact-based data on any problem they having, and then they negotiate with all the people and document those negotiation for the communication of everyone's. They utilize their information and human network to solve the problem. And they are also into the helping the organization managing and developing their different policies. They are into the approach their members and the develop their the subordinates within themselves as well as through their actions. So now it come to the competency you have been designed and you have been reached to this level of the competency. Then furthermore, what you require, you need to be define some structure. So there, the competency which you have been defined, so there you have to be specifically give a competency statement. What this competency is, you have to be defined that. There you have to define the criteria of performance. What is the good behavior? What is the bad behavior or bad approach? Then you are sticking or you are striking your employee what they have to do. What they have to do, that is the ideal approach. What they have not to do, that is the wrong approach. It means you will be distinguish those people. Then sporting the knowledge and skill based on those competencies, the statement you have been given, then the key term of the definition you have to be defined. This is the format for the next one, how you have to be define and formulate these. So you can also identify like the handling some hazard. It is one example. So for the technical competencies, and the next one, the format will be same for both the behavior and the competency, but you need to be understand it how to identify the competencies of the behavior which will identify or create an image of the ideal employee. Then you have to mention the competency statement. That will be your description of the statement, that what a competent the individual they are doing and expecting, and they need to be demonstrate. Then they need to be put, you need to be put into the action, their context and the criteria, the standard, what it should be, as I mentioned. So that is at the end. So what is the competency? Number one, there is committing to the organization. So there is the sub competency that is about the challenging or never give up. So in that challenges, what it should be, what the behavior they need to be demonstrate or what they not to be demonstrated. So this is the how you have to be now standardize your competencies. So it will be look like the next one, it come to the different cluster or the different combination of the job. So that's why it is based on the label competencies. You have to be define it accordingly, where these competencies you can utilize furthermore into your organization. That is about the when you are designing, you can utilize it into the workforce planning or the developing. You can utilize in learning and development, assessing the different like the recognition, the current skills, then the performance appraisal, self-assessment, as well as your succession planning. This will be utilized for succession planning, because you have been identify a ideal image. When you have been identify ideal image, who will be into the or far from this expected image, that are your high performance employee, and that can be your future leader or the successor for your organization. Then you can also utilize this model to the credential, micro credential, professional designations. And furthermore, it will be utilized into the 5 types of the different functions: your recruitment and selections, learning and development, performance evaluation, succession planning, and the talent audit. So these are the different types of the competencies which you are getting with the this model, which I have been shared with you, the ideal model of the competencies for the ideal employee image for an organization. So now it come to the next one. So there, when you have to be, how you can implement, learn this, the competencies design into an organization. So there are the, however, the you can also go with some academic like the IIM. Also they have the executive program that you require to be get around 1 year or 6 months to 1 year, and then after you have to spend a lot of money for that. Or furthermore, we have been designed this competency model. It is designed with the IMM professionals. It is designed with the Japan Foundation, and our people together. Practically, we design it for the different organization who are our client. So that's approach we are here. I am just sharing with you. There, I am bringing here the 2 different solutions for you into the next level. Number one, here something I'm also, as I mentioned into the beginning, I'm sharing or giving away something to the participant today. It was our commitment on the Diwali. So that's why we are giving away something. One is the competency toolkit. That toolkit is the combination of these two, which I have been shared with you. One is your core competency, and second one is the critical competency, how to identify, how to design, how to identify competencies. And then furthermore, when you have been identified, then how you can create a competency ideal model for your organization that will lead the success of your organization. So now it come to the what is into this the competency model. It is the full-fledged competency toolkit, where from the beginning what you have to do, how you have to do, what types of the action you have to take, we have been defined it into the this solution, or the competency kit has been 2 parts. One is where you will be put the actions, how you have to be designed, and in the second part is about the finally the behavior competency model we have been designing it, how you have to be implement. So these are the 2 toolkits we are giving away to you today. And what is inside this toolkit? So briefly, I'm sharing it with you in the first part, so that we have been divided it into the 4 parts. So that is about the how to define the competence I have been shared with you in the beginning. So the competency come from the competence. When you are identifying the competencies, so you have to be break down it into the competence level. So that's why you have to follow the first principle, what required, the competence. When it come to the competence, that is your knowledge skill and the core of your knowledge skill ability. Then next one, it is putting about the competence where it is working upon. So there is the different types of the task which is gradually changing into the according to the time. So that's why the competence changes over time, but the competency which are behavior that you can keep them for the longer way or longer period of time, or you can review. Someone has been asked the question into the registration form, so that when they have to be review the competency, so there are the 2 way. It will be depend on your competency, what is it exactly. You have the same model which I am sharing here with you. If you have only the functional competency, if it is a functional competency, so at least every 2 year you have to be revised, or otherwise if there is changes in the technology, your businesses, you have to be every time revise those competency, or you have to be assess those. But if you are having this behavior model, or the ideal image of employee model within your organization. So there you keep it for the 5 to 10 year, you does not required. Many organizations where we have been developed, so it is working since 2013, and it is working there. That is not, it is does not require, because it is the behavior what is expected. So all the time it is expected the same. The approaches who are, you are just identifying, evaluating, assessing those people based on these competencies. So ultimately you are getting, so it is started with your recruitment, then second it is about your the employee performance appraisal, then it is about training and development when you have to identify based on the performance, then it is about the succession planning, and ultimately it is about the your talent audit, which is only the 1% of the organization utilizing. So this model will be work upon. Then it come to the number one, the part one. So there, how to define the competency level first. When you have been defined the competency, then next level is now you are working on the designing of a framework as an HR leader or the competency specialist or expert. Then third one is, now the competency framework you have been designed, now you have to be utilize those competency to map with your organization, which I have been mentioned. So organization, they require the organization philosophy, which is a combination of your mission statement, then your management principle, and the individual spirit, how you are look the individual into your organization. Then fourth part is the how you have to be develop it into the next level. Then you can finally get an ideal model of your competency. So there we have been provided you specifically the format, how you have to utilize it, how you have to train your manager, who has to be monitor these. The competency will never be monitored by that the designed by the technical people. If you are putting them, you can only utilize those people to getting the information how the people have to behave, what are the issues they have. When you are creating a committee of your different verticals leaders, you have to be get the those people's insight and opinion, what types of the issues they are facing. Then you have to align those with these competencies or the behavior approaches you are putting into the this wall. Then next one, there we have been divide the competency into the seven the cluster, where it is about the in the tree, the label which I have been shared with you. Then it is the operational team, your staff team or the office level team, and then it is your management team who are the divisional head. So what types of the approaches they required. With the example we have been shared it here, what the behavior or the ideal behavior should be here. So like one thing I can share it with you, just give me 1 minute. So what is exactly into this ultimate?